Hi friends, it's Aaron Fregnito, your host of the Passive Cash Flow Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us here for another episode. I'm excited to bring you a piece of a past episode that I really enjoyed here. This was called Raising Private Capital with Jay Conner. This is episode 118. What I did was I took a small 10-minute snippet from this that I felt was the most important part of this episode, and I really wanted to bring this back to our listeners to, maybe you missed this episode or maybe you forgot about it. It was about 6-8 months ago. And what Jay and I talk about in this podcast is raising private capital, right? This snippet in particular talks about protecting your investors, how they're protecting the first lien position versus equity investing as well. We talk about hard money lending versus private capital and why John really prefers, or Jay really prefers, working with private investors, not hard money lenders. Also getting bank loans and the headaches involved in getting bank loans and why Jay prefers private capital over bank loans. I break into the ethics of wholesaling, negotiating with homeowners, and then Jay also explains how he helps homeowners sometimes relocate when buying their property or wholesaling their property. Jay also ends here the snippet with talking about a win-win-win structure where all parties are satisfied and all parties feel like they're winning at the end of the negotiation. So that's certainly easier said than done, but here's a snippet of episode 118 here, Raising Private Capital. Jay Conner explains how to raise private capital in this snippet. So enjoy, folks. And by the way, if you're enjoying our episodes here, please like and subscribe on the platform you're listening to. Share with a friend who you think would gain value from our episodes. And also leave a 5-star review on the platform you're listening to. If you could suggest guests and topics, that'd be great, but every review helps us and every like helps us, of course, expand our network and reach more people and explain how they can build their wealth investing in real estate and improve their lives overall. Thanks a lot, friends. Enjoy this snippet from episode 118.
When I do a deal, I want the cash to be happy on both sides of the table, right? Nothing but win-win-win. I want the private lender protected. They always get a deed of trust or mortgage to back. In fact, I even name them as mortgagee on the insurance policy. So if there's a claim against the property, they actually have to sign off on the check. So I wanted to make that differentiation, and those are the big ones between hard money and private money. And the other thing I wanted to say is you've got your logo for People Capital Group. Your byline is helping people invest in real estate. And I just want to say, Aaron, that's why you and I hit it off from the very beginning. My entire mindset and outlook and my entire team's outlook is all about helping people first. You know, Zig Ziglar said it. Helping other people get what they need and what you don't have to worry about yourself. Here's a case in point. How in the world do we help our sellers that are in foreclosure? You know, there's two great big categories of foreclosures right now. You got people that were in foreclosure prior to COVID. You got people that lost their jobs because of COVID. Well, all the moratoriums have been lifted. You got all these people facing foreclosure now. And guess what? Foreclosures are up 219% year to date over last year. You got all these people you can help. And here's an example of helping people. When they respond to our marketing, one of the first questions we ask these people facing foreclosure is, do you want to keep your home?
Right.
And when they say yes, then guess what? We got ways to advise them. We tell them up front, we're not attorneys. I can't give you any legal advice.
Yeah, of course.
But have you talked to your lender about a deferment program? Have you talked about a loan modification? Have you talked to them? So many people in foreclosure go in denial and just don't even talk to their lender.
All right, isn't that crazy?
You know what? If we can help, and this all goes back to your byline, if we can help someone keep their home, there's not a penny in it for us. But you know what? The law of reciprocity, what goes around comes around. And, you know, if I help enough other people, I don't have to worry about me. Put them first. And the business is going to work out for you. You know, I tell you, Aaron, anytime I have gotten involved in a business or a career, and I'm 62 years old now, over the past decades, every time I got involved, and it was primarily to make the money, I failed miserably. In fact, I never launched. But when I got on a business that I was passionate about, such as real estate investing, and passionate about helping my private lenders, right? They need us more than we need them. There's so many more of them. When I put them first, and it's like, I'm not asking for money. I'm teaching people what private money is and the private lending program. And you know what? I don't even have to ask for the money. I'm helping them by offering the traditional way of borrowing money is you go to your banker, you get on your hands and knees, you put your hands underneath your chin, and you go, please loan me money for my deal. Please loan me money for my deal.
Never ask for money.
Yeah. And in this world of private money, I'm not asking for a mortgage, I'm offering it, right? Yeah. And so it's all about the win-win. And so when I saw your byline is helping people, it's all about putting people first. And, you do that. And if I can help somebody keep their home, I don't have to worry about me and my team. There's plenty to go around.
At People's Capital Group, we help you invest in real estate. Build your wealth by owning professionally managed apartment buildings in the northern New Jersey market. We want to show you how owning real estate is attainable, even for the busy professionals that don't have the time or experience investing in real estate. Now, we only work with select people who are serious about building wealth. So find out if you qualify at peoplescapitalgroup.com. No, that's a great attitude. And that's how I like to live my life in general. Do unto others as you'd like to be done to you, of course. And, I'm a Christian fellow myself as well. That helps me keep good moral grounds. And it's important in this business because, the business of buying homes from people in foreclosure is a bit of a gray zone. They'll ask you questions like, well, what do you think my home is worth? Just like sitting there like, if you're asking me that, then you're misunderstanding, exactly who I am and what I'm doing here, and that's a hard question to answer because what it's worth to me or what it's worth to someone else is going to be completely different. But there's a moral groundwork you kind of have to have in the wholesale business or the buying foreclosure business, and I honestly, after a while, I've done over 250 real estate transactions. I own and operate a real estate fund. It almost like it felt a little unethical for me to be there talking to some homeowners who had never done really, any type of transaction like this before. I'd never been in a situation like this. They're kind of looking to us for advice. So there were times I'd say to them, listen, I'm not really the guy you go to get your home valued. If you want to do that, call a local realtor, call an appraiser. Or there were other times I bought properties at sheriff sale auctions and it was in the first 10-day redemption period. And I go, now maybe this is stupid, but I go knock on the door and say, hey, I bought your home at auction, do you want to work out at cash for keys, and they say, well, no, I want to keep the home. I'd say, okay, well, you do a 10-day redemption period. If you can go to the courthouse, you can, ideally buy, redeem your home in the next 10 days if you come up with the cash. So, and people have done that. And I remember thinking to myself, should I have told them that because it's really not in my best interest. Now I've lost the deal, but it sat well with me and I was able to rest my head on the pillow at night and say, I did the right thing. I have no idea, what that deal was, how much money was in it. It wouldn't have mattered really at the end of the day. It would have just been another deal on the spreadsheet. But we did the right thing and I remember it because of that, but there's definitely a lot of gray zones. That's actually one of the reasons I started to transition into buying properties at sheriff sale auction, because I felt a lot more comfortable buying at a sheriff sale auction because that's the public chopping block. If it wasn't me, it would be someone else buying it. There were some times where we were sending out mailings to motivated owners, and I think there were some boundaries we always had to be aware of, and it sounds like you're aware of those boundaries as well. But I also know wholesalers that, the owner asks, well, what's my home worth? And they say, oh, $20,000, and or whatever they need to lowball to get them there. And honestly, doing that's not going to be a long-term business solution,
Well, as far as what's your home worth, your house or your property is worth what you and I agree to, right? Yeah. I mean, that's what it comes down to. But speaking of, helping people out, I much prefer to actually buy the house directly from the person that is in distress. And they can be in distress for many, many reasons. Foreclosure, somebody lost a job, they're in financial distress, the property is in distress, whatever. The reason that I prefer, I mean, I buy houses all the time at the courthouse. I'm closing on one right now, a week from this coming Monday. I'm buying it for $306,000, and the after repair value is $600,000, and the rehab might be $30,000. Wow. So I bought that at the courthouse, but I would have much rather bought that house directly from the owner of that property, and here's why. When someone tells us, when we ask the question, will you sell your property for what you owe? And they say yes. Well, am I going to keep a foreclosure off their record? Yes. Am I going to help their credit? No, it's already ruined. So the reason my preference is to buy directly from them is I have the opportunity to actually serve them and help them get back on their feet. 100% of the time, when someone tells us, yes, I will sell you for what I owe, I'm behind 10 months on payments. Right. There's no way I can bring it current. And if I let it go to, foreclosure, I got to move out anyway. Do you know what, Aaron? 100% of the time we say, you know what? We want to be a part of helping you get back on your feet. And we want to give you thousands of dollars to actually help you get moving on. Right. And so if I'm going to be making, $74,000 on a deal, for goodness sake, I'm more than glad to give them $5,000 when they didn't even ask for it to help them move, put deposit on utilities, all that. I mean, that's just the part of giving back before you get anything, before you close on it. Now, am I going to give them $5,000 to help them out before I close on the deal? Well, of course not, right? Right. They're not going to get the money until, first of all, I own the house, right? And secondly, that I've done a walkthrough. If I own the house, I might give them $2,500 to help them move out. One thing we always offer as a benefit: leave whatever you want to in the house. You ain't got to mess with it. We got people that takes, stuff to Habitat for Humanity and everything. Sure. But then we'll do a walkthrough, and I'll say, look, it's got to be clean. You don't have to move everything out, but, things have got to be in order. And then I'll give them the rest of the money. And my lands, how good does it feel to write a check to somebody for $5,000 to help them get on with their life, and you still make 70 grand? You talk about cash being happy on both sides of the table. If it's not win-win-win and look, I was going to say, if it's not win-win-win for everybody, I don't want to do the deal. Look at all the people that we and you, Aaron, and your audience are helping. My lands, the seller, your private lender that you're paying high rates of return safely and securely, your contractors, your realtor, if you're selling it through the MLS. I mean, all these people are benefiting by you simply being the orchestra director and bringing that deal together.
Hey friends, if you're still listening to this episode of the Passive Cash Flow Podcast, then hopefully you've gained value from this episode. So I ask of you a couple things to help us build our network and reach more people and help them passively invest in real estate. See, our goal this year is to reach 10,000 more people, download our podcast here, help them improve their life and get a little more freedom in their life, a little more financial freedom to do the things they love. But to spread our word and help people build their wealth, we need you to do a few things. First of all, share this episode with someone who you think would gain value from our content. Also, leave a 5-star review on the platform you're listening to, maybe Apple, iTunes, or Spotify. Please leave a review for us, and we'd love to hear some of your feedback on guests and topics you'd like to hear as well. Also, like and subscribe on the podcast platform that you're listening to as well. If you're on YouTube, check out more of our content there. Again, our goal is to reach 10,000 new listeners this year, so share with a friend, like and subscribe, leave that 5-star review, and let's build our networks to the next level. Thank you, and enjoy your day.